My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm Superintendent of Schools for Bristol, Virginia Public Schools. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming today to learn about Bristol, Virginia Public Schools' school reopening plan for fall of 2020. Our plan, which is titled Recover, Reimagine, and Return, is a very important document for parents, staff, and our community to know about as we move into the late summer and early fall of this school year. So on behalf of the Bristol, Virginia School Board and our School Reopening Committee, I'm pleased to announce that the second draft of our reopening plan is ready to be released to the public so that we can receive your input. I'm very impressed and pleased with the work of the committee so far. That committee is made up of over 60 school division stakeholders that includes leaders, teachers, staff, students, parents, and members of our community. We'd like to highlight the major points of the plan today to ensure our entire community that the safety and health of our students and staff are our #1 priority. The plan is not the final plan because we hope to receive input from our staff and community prior to presenting it to our school board on August the 3rd. So first of all, our plan will center around a fully in-person reopening during Phase 3 for every family who chooses that option. Students and families with health concerns will automatically be eligible for remote learning upon request. Other families may request that option as well. Stipulations for participation and academic progress will be included with the approvals of those requests. During Phase 3, we will reduce our instructional day by 30 minutes to ensure compliance with teacher contracts and to ensure adequate supervision can be provided. Elementary and secondary start time order will be reversed. We are currently planning for elementary schools to begin at 8 a.m. and for our middle and high schools to begin school at 9 a.m. In-person instruction will be offered Monday through Thursday. Fridays will be used primarily for remote instruction for students with opportunities for teacher planning and collaboration and also deep cleaning. However, for working families who do not have child care on Friday, enrichment, remediation, and other opportunities will be offered in person by instructional aides, other support staff, and outside agencies. These enrichment days will be individualized at the school level. However, if the governor does move the state back to Phase 2, we will be prepared to alter our plan. This will include the possibility of moving to a fully remote model. Students in grades 2 through 12 will be provided a laptop regardless of the plan that we reopen in, and pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade students will be provided an iPad. If we have to return to a fully remote model, we will provide internet access for families who are not connected in their homes. When we return in person, staff will complete daily self-screenings prior to coming to work. Students will have temperature screens upon entrance to the bus or upon arrival to school. Face coverings will be provided to everyone and will be recommended in all areas while being required in other areas. Our goal will be to maintain 6 feet of social distancing as recommended by the Center of Disease Control. When that is not possible, we will add mitigations and never go below the 1 meter of social distancing that is recommended by the World Health Organization and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Many other mitigations will be implemented, and we'll actually demonstrate some of those in just a moment. We will also have protocols in place for suspected and confirmed cases of COVID-19 in our schools and for significant increases in our community. An isolation room will be established at every school. Our plan will be adjusted in collaboration with the Virginia Department of Health if confirmed cases rise in our community, significantly rise in our community. So this document, Recover, Reimagine, and Return, is over 50 pages and is a framework for opening all of our schools in a healthy and safe way. Even before COVID-19, we could never guarantee that there was zero risk for those entering our buildings. However, I am confident that our plan is solid, practical, safe, and efficient. Schools will have the flexibility to make slight accommodations to ensure the division-wide plan is effective in their individual buildings. So I would like to take just a moment to thank our School Reopening Committee for their excellent work. Our plan is not perfect, but I know you will find it to be thorough, thoughtful, and safety-centered. We look forward to your feedback and can't wait to be reunited with our school families. So at this time, I would like to share with you some of the mitigations that we'll be implementing to ensure that our students and staff have a safe return to school. First of all, every student will be provided a water bottle to try to avoid drinking from the public water fountains. We will be providing this for all students and for all staff. We will be providing screens that will go between desks in some areas when we go below 6 feet of social distancing. Some will look like this, but we're actually able to buy some of these in bulk at a better price. We will also provide bottled water for students, and we're actually looking to change all of our normal water fountains to the refillable water fountains that can refill water bottles. Classrooms will be fully stocked with hand sanitizer, and we will also have additional face masks for students, staff, and guests as they enter our buildings. Additionally, we'll have vinyl gloves to be used when appropriate and as necessary. As you can see here, this will be the attire that some of our nurses wear based on the circumstances that they're dealing with. We'll have face shields, face masks, gloves, and also the gowns whenever they are needed. We are making sure that all of our staff have the needed supplies to take care of our children and to take care of themselves. I mentioned that all students would be screened. Their temperature would be taken as they enter the building or as they enter the bus. At Virginia Middle School and Virginia High School, we will actually have a automatic thermometer that students can come up to. And it will take their temperature. And it will also remind you if you're not wearing a mask as well. Very, very state-of-the-art technology. At our elementary schools and in other places in our middle and high school, we will have thermometers to use that we don't have to touch. We can be away and take the temperature straight from the forehead. We also will have goggles when appropriate instead of face shields. And every student and every staff member will be provided this face covering. We have already ordered those, and all of our students and staff will have access to one of these face coverings. And if you would like to support the Virginia High School Bearcats, you can purchase these from our athletic department. All of our special education teachers will be provided a face mask like this with a clear opening, so that students can communicate better with their teachers and even read their lips if necessary. However, if those options are not what our parents want, students can wear face masks that they bring from home as well. And here are some examples of those. Cloth face masks are acceptable. As I mentioned, regardless if we're fully in person or if we're doing a remote learning plan, we will provide laptops, as you can see here, for all students in grades 2 through 12. And for our pre-K, kindergarten, first grade students, we will be providing those students with an iPad. If we do for those remote learning days, and if we have to go fully remote, for families who do not have internet access at home, we will be providing them with a hotspot so that students can always have access to their coursework and their classes. I mentioned earlier that we will also be setting aside an isolation room in case we have a suspected case of COVID-19 in every building. There's an example of the signage that we will also be using in all of our buildings to remind students of the isolation rooms and also as traffic patterns. Part of the issues that we're going to have is making sure that students are going in the proper direction and maintaining social distance during transitions, and so we'll have good signage in all of our buildings. However, some of the most important mitigations that we'll be doing is in the area of cleaning. What you see here beside me, that is an air scrubber. It's the Austin HealthMate Plus, and these units are designed to run 24/7, and they use a HEPA filter, and it will remove aerosol viruses down to 0.1 microns. We'll have these in all of our office areas and some other areas where ventilation is of concern. You'll also see another example of a divider here. We'll have these dividers in our main offices to keep appropriate distance between the clerical staff and visitors whenever they come into our rooms. You'll also see that we can take documents and slide those underneath those as well. This is the disposable cloths that we'll be using on our school buses. We're going to have to do multiple runs on our buses to make sure, because we can only get 22 students on a bus, and so after every 22, our staff will be cleaning the buses, and they'll be using these disposable but very tough rags. We'll also be providing Clorox wipes, disinfectant wipes, I should say. They may not always be Clorox, but we'll be providing these in all of our office areas, all of our transportation areas, all of our classrooms. We won't be asking parents to send these because we know how difficult they can be to find. We also will be using this cleaner, and it is called HALT. And HALT is, it has a 10-minute kill time for COVID-19. This will be one of the cleaners that we're using on a daily basis in our buildings. We also will be using this Oxifier 5. This has a 5-minute kill time, and this will be used with our atomizers, which I'll share with you in a minute. This is Clorox 360. It actually goes with the machine here to my left. That is also another example of an atomizer. However, we also will have these electrostatic sprayers that are handheld. I won't demonstrate this to you today, but we'll have these for small areas that need to be cleaned. And we can clean a 800 square foot room in a matter of just a couple of minutes with this. With the Clorox 360, we can actually clean a 40,000 square foot building, sanitize it using the Clorox 360 in less than 3 hours. We also have, for larger areas, just like the handheld sprayer, we have also purchased backpack sprayers that we can cover larger areas with. So I will draw your attention to the screen behind me. I shared with you earlier that we have started some summer school this summer, and in most areas our students are wearing masks, and sometimes they're not required to wear masks. However, I took a picture of a couple of our classroom full of students, and they had their mask on, and then I asked them immediately, I said, okay, let's take a picture with your mask off. Without me even telling them, you'll notice that with the mask on, the students were closer together, but when I asked them to take their mask off for a picture, they immediately separated themselves. I have no doubt that our students will work with us as we move into the school year. I know our students want to be here with us as much as we want them to be here as well. And so I think we'll have a very easy time, or hopefully we can have a very easy time, training students on the new protocols and the new expectations that we'll have at school. I will also add that we are trying to create an environment that is fun, a fun and safe learning environment. We do not anticipate making this a punishment type situation if students forget to wear their mask or pull their mask off. We will have protocols in place to remind them of the appropriate recommendations and suggestions for using masks. And then finally, as I said, one of the biggest challenges we're going to have in reopening school this year is some of our bus runs have over 70 students. All of them have 40 or more. However, we can only get 22 students on a bus, and it is going to be very strategic in how we load those buses. And so maybe we'll take some questions here now, and then we'll go down and we'll demonstrate. We brought one of our buses over, and we've got markings and signage on those buses as well, and we'll demonstrate to you there how students will be expected to load buses as we reopen school this fall. Ms. Austin, Dr. Nabraga, I know we had a lot of things to cover here. There's a lot of other mitigations that we'll be implementing. Did I overlook anything that we were supposed to cover here today? I know we had a lot of props. All right. Good deal. So, at this point, I'll take some questions before we go outside to take a look at the buses.
Can you go over the school week again, Monday through Thursday, then Friday, just kind of your reasoning for it?
Yes, sir. So we are going to be providing in-person instruction for every family who wants to take advantage of it Monday through Thursday. We're reducing the instructional day by 30 minutes. because teachers have contracted hours, and we know that our transportation piece is going to take longer. And so in order to provide supervision during those longer transport times, we had to reduce our instructional day. Once we leave phase 3, we'll go back to our normal hours. On Friday, then, we will have remote instruction for all students. Teachers will use that day to provide remote instruction if needed, or help to students if needed. They will also use this for planning and collaboration, and just a chance to catch their breath, because they're really going to be teaching 2 models. They'll be teaching an in-person class, and they'll be teaching an at-home class. And so we really want to give teachers that time that they'll need to just to decompress and to prepare themselves for the next week. And then we also know that for some of our working families, not having a 5-day week could be detrimental to them with their jobs. And so for those families who need it, we will be providing enrichment and remediation opportunities. It'll look different at every school based on the needs and the number of students who take advantage of it. But for working families who need that, we will be providing those opportunities. We will also be working with outside agencies like Girls Incorporated and the Boys and Girls Club to provide services to families on those Fridays as well. Great question.
And you've also covered your base with the at-home learning also. You've got several elements of that.
Yes, we do. And actually, we don't know what school starts for us on August 20th. We're a little under 5 weeks away from that. Our health metrics could change drastically between now and then. And if we do have to go backwards from our reopening plan and go into some type of remote learning, all teachers by August 20th will have the first 9 weeks of instruction prepared and ready to go for remote instruction. So we have backup plans to our backup plans. And again, we may have to have some more backup plans added to those depending on how the health metrics continue to either rise or decline in our city, our surrounding counties as well.
And every student will have the capabilities to do at-home learning, whether they can afford it or not.
Absolutely. One thing that I will say, we will be providing remote learning regardless of how the instructional model that we're implementing during phase 3. I will tell you, and I will tell the families who are listening, that model will be inferior. You cannot replace the classroom touch that a teacher provides when she's in the classroom or he's in a classroom with their students. And so we will provide that, but we know from the spring and we know from empirical research data that remote learning is inferior to in-person learning. As a matter of fact, we anticipate that many of our students will come back to us not with a summer slide, which we're used to, but with a COVID crash. And so I would encourage parents to ask all the questions they want to know about our return to school plan if they have concerns about the health and safety of their children. We think that we have a very good plan and we would love to hear from them, but we would also encourage them to take advantage of the in-person opportunities, because we will do our very best to provide a robust remote learning option, but regardless, that remote learning is inferior to in-person learning.
If it goes back into phase 2, is there any specific threshold that would have you guys move to fully online learning?
Right. So we last spring, the governor made that decision for all schools in the Commonwealth. We hope that we have the local autonomy to make those decisions ourselves. We have began discussions with our local health department to develop metrics for us to look at to know whenever we ought to turn the faucet on a little or maybe turn the faucet off a little based on how the metrics are looking, not only in the city of Bristol, but in surrounding counties.
You guys may be looking at the green, yellow, and red threshold in many other school districts.
Right. We anticipate Virginia coming out with something similar to that model. It may not be green, yellow, and red. It could be adjectives, mild, moderate, or something along those lines. But we do anticipate having data. Just like when I have to make a decision about closing school in the winter, I'm certainly not a weatherman, and I try to reach out to experts to help with that decision. And as we make decisions about opening school, closing school, moving to partial remote, fully remote, we'll be making those decisions in direct consultation with our local health department. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that, because I forgot to mention it. We actually are in the process. Teachers often have a lot of extra materials, supplies, and furniture in their classrooms. And we have asked teachers to really just to identify those things that they will need that are imperative for instruction. For the remaining supplies, we've actually purchased some storage space, and we'll be moving things out of classrooms that are not necessary to make room for additional students. And so we anticipate that not every family will take advantage of our in-person learning. However, we can get 6 feet of social distancing in almost all of our classrooms for up to 18 students. Some we can get a little more, some we can get a little bit less, and that's with the full 6 foot. However, in those areas where we can't get the 6 foot, the first thing that we're going to do is look for a larger space. The second thing that we would do is move from 6 foot to 5 foot, but add additional mitigations to make sure that we're keeping not only our students, but our staff and teachers and everybody involved safe.
So we're talking like 18 kids in a classroom?
In most classrooms, we think 18 that's what we've seen. There are some where we can get a few more and some a few less, but truly, we can get 18 students in our classroom using 6 feet of social distancing. Now, some of the furniture that you're used to seeing in the classroom will not be there while we're implementing that, but we can make that work.
This plan, you've got a lot of effort, a lot of time in this plan, but like you said, it's not set in stone. There's room to maneuver because you really can't predict what's going to happen.
Absolutely. As I said, we have backups to backups, and there's a lot. We are ready to go fully remote, partially remote, and we're actually ready to go to take our in-person model to the next level, to remove some of the mitigations that we know that parents are going to be concerned about. Masks are a concern for students, teachers, families as well. And you know, we look forward to the day where we don't have to have the discussion about whether you should wear a mask or you're required to wear a mask. We're looking forward to the day where students are back to us normally as they were on March 12th of last school year.